So welcome back to Gearhead Geeks. Today we're going to be taking and lacing and truing a wheel off a 1969 TS250. Belonged to my friend John, and he brought it over, and we're going to lace it and true it. So let's get to it. Okay, so what we're going to do here is get this on a truing stand. Now this particular truing stand is more of a wheel balancer. It's a very cheap Harbor Freight version of it, but it gets the job done. And so what you want to do is get the wheel semi-centered in here. It doesn't matter if it's centered. It doesn't have to be perfectly centered. All that you want to do is make sure that these are pushed tight against the bearings and tighten them down. And they'll drag a little bit on seals, and if the bearings aren't super smooth, that's okay. We're not balancing this wheel at the moment. What we're doing is just putting it so that we can give it a turn. Now, look what's happened there. If you look at the rim, you see it wobbling around a lot? No, it's not bad. It's because we got all the spokes even at this point. Many times when people lace the rim, it's all over the place. Yes, it's still going up and down. It's not perfect by any means at this point, but it's not bad. It's not wobbling around. It's not doing anything. And you can see there's little lumps in it, and we're going to take all those out. Our goal is to tighten up all these spokes and get everything nice and tight so that it will end up being even in the end. Now, what we're going to do is we'll set it up. We're going to set this up on the bench so it's a little easier to get a pointer going on at this. And then we'll start tightening these spokes. And we're only going to try, it doesn't mean we won't be loosening, but we're going to be trying to tighten down all the spokes so that we're only tightening. We're never loosening. And as we tighten a spoke, if we're tightening over here, we're going to be also tightening over here because it's pulling the rim as it pulls the rim this way. When we tighten a spoke, it's going to pull the rim against the spokes over here. So now by tightening one, you're actually tightening the other side. If you tighten one here, you might be tightening 4 or 5 spokes over on this other side. So you tighten it, and then you can go back, and you may end up having to loosen these because it doesn't do it enough. But in this case, the rim is starting out pretty good. So we'll move over to the bench.
Run away.
And the reason I'm moving over to the bench is first of all, it's a little higher. And secondly, I can put a little magnetic stand on this.
I can't film from here.
Looks good. Right.
Excuse me. I'm trying to see.
Get around. Okay, a little magnetic stand on this. And this is just a cheap magnetic stand, and it's pretty solid. And what we want to do first, let's see if we can get rid of most of this up and down. And we're not having anything special going on here. All we want to do is we've just got this little and we've got a gap going on in here. So what we want to do is we're going to take and loosen this up just a bit and get it so it's touching. Okay, and we can hear what's going on. Now, we're going a little left and right, and we're going a little bit up and down. We do want to take out a lot of this up and down first. That makes it easier for everything, because taking out the left and right helps a little bit, but the up and down is hardest because you're moving so much in different directions. So let me find a spoke wrench.
Scared me.
And number 8, that's a little too, must be a number 10. Yep. Number 9. Okay, so it's a number 9 spoke. So now what we're going to try and do is we're going to start taking the high spot out of this. You hear that? So we can hear and see that this is a high spot. So what we want to do is start tightening down these spokes in this high spot. And what that's going to do is start pushing the rim that way. And just those few spokes have already started to make a difference. And we're basically trying to do it on both sides so that we pull the rim. Okay, now the high spot has moved a little bit, which is okay. That's fine. We'll deal with it now. So the high spot starts here, and just start tightening the spokes both directions and around the high spot. Taking some of the slack out of these spokes and so it can start to actually tighten. And again, I'm just tightening spokes around in where that high spot is. Find that high spot. Now we're only tightening spokes. We haven't loosened the spoke yet. Next high spot. And while we're tightening these spokes, other spokes are getting tighter as we go along. And pretty soon, we'll go find the next high spot, which is here. And it moves as we start tightening these spokes. It's not just getting rid of it, it's going ahead and pushing the rim around. And that's going to happen every time you tighten the spokes. When I tighten this spoke, not only does it tighten this way, but it also tightens that way. So it can be moving that high spot around. But that's okay. We're going to chase that high spot around until the spokes start to get nice and snug. Now I'm going to go, now that it's close, I'm just going to kind of run these spokes down a little bit. Just finger tight. So any spoke that's loose will be just snug. Nothing fancy, just getting snugged up a little bit now that the rim is close. We started out with a rim that was doing fairly well, and it's still doing really well. This is actually a fairly easy one. But our spokes are all pretty much finger tight. all those high spots have kind of gone away. Now we got some more high spots, but we need to get rid of some of the left and right. So now that we've got the up and down fairly good, it's not great yet, but we need to get rid of the left and right. So what we'll do, if we look in here, okay, so what are we going to do? So and we can hear it and see. We don't need to see all of it, but what we do know is that this is pulled this way. So what we'll do is we're going to tighten the spokes in that area on the opposite side. And again, we're not trying to be perfect here yet because we still have some up and down left. But what we are trying to do is just get it closer. Okay. It's not making any noise. But so what we'll do now is we got that one moved over, but we still have this wide area. So let's be fair and do both sides. So we'll start pulling this side that way by tightening the spokes on this side. And our wide area starts getting good right about there. So we'll just start tightening these spokes only on this side. And that gap is starting to minimize. And again, we're just tightening spokes here. We haven't loosened anything yet. Doesn't mean we won't, but we're trying not to. And work on this side a little bit. Yeah, some of these spokes are still have some pretty good slack in them, so we're starting to get those snugged up. And the ones that slack in them are just what's causing the. And already we've lost about half of our. And almost all the left and right is almost gone. Then we'll go back to the up and down a little bit, and that will help us. And I see a big gap growing here, so I'm going to just tighten these spokes on this side. And again, there's a couple loose spokes here that are causing that action. And again, we haven't loosened anything. We're just making things tighter and tighter as we go along. And when we tighten spokes, not only tightening the spoke there, but it's tightening spokes on the other side, ever so slightly. Okay, now let's get the up and down out. Our left and right is better. Now we can go with our up and down. And now we always have to remember that no rim will ever be perfect. It's a round piece of metal that's been welded together at one point. And that weld will always create some sort of lump, whether it's an aluminum rim or a steel rim. It just happens. But you're not trying, it'll never be perfect because a tire is never perfect, for one. And you just need to be within a millimeter or two, because that's really what the factory spec is. tighten up these spokes all the way around in this area. And the spokes are getting much, much tighter as we go along. All of them are starting to get tighter and tighter. I'm trying not to hit this thing with my hand because when you do that, it knocks it out of adjustment. So we don't really want to do that all that much. And even this spoke is loose. And this spoke is loose. And there's a little lump in the rim where it was welded. It happens. There's nothing you can do about it. Rims have got lumps in them. They're never perfect. They just kind of, got a little bit of high spot right in there. What's happened is all of these spokes have become much, much, much tighter. Up and down's almost perfect. Get the left and right back again now. Okay, so we end up with a little bit of gap, and again, that's because the rim is welded right here, and it has a tendency to twist things out of the way, but we can get that closer. And again, now I have a bit of a gap, so I'm tightening the spokes on this side and bringing that gap over. And kind of rubbing on that side. So we just evenly kind of work our way back and forth. And we are really getting close. And again, I haven't loosened one spoke yet. So now, the rim is basically true. So what we're going to do is, now that we've got it true, we are just going to go ahead, I'm going to go to the label right here, and I'm just going to run around and make sure all the spokes are snugged up. Each one gets moved a little bit to tighten up the whole thing. Stay out of my way. And if we have any loose spokes, we need to take it up now. And we're back at the label, and
Very nice.
now there's going to be little lumps, and there's nothing you can do about that. That's just welded. Those are welded. You can feel it. You can feel the weld on the outside, but the tire will run perfectly true in there,
Very nice.
and I did not loosen one spoke, and every spoke is tight. Thanks for watching this video. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, hit the like button, and we're going to be presenting more and more how to fix your motorcycle type videos and how to do things that aren't in the norm. So see you next time.